was 10 years old and we were on an island off the coast of Thailand. And that's when the 2004 tsunami hit. The tsunami was as close as you are to me right now. My family, we just start running up this pathway as fast as we can. And I look behind me and it was like, I wish I had never looked behind me because I just watched the tsunami just destroy everything in its path.
Welcome back to the Heaven Meets Earth podcast, where we talk about miracles, divine encounters, surviving life storms, and today, surviving actual storms. I'm your co-host, Abby Robertson, joined today by
the other co-host, Ryan Bethea. And Abby, I gotta say, I just love you can't take the news anchor out of you. It's breaking news always in the spirit.
10 years of training.
That's right. And we do have breaking news in the spirit today because we have a very, very special guest joining us here on Heaven Meets Earth. In fact, in her home country of New Zealand, she's known as the anointed Kiwi, the prophet who can't stop it. In fact, her voice memos of encouragement are so profound, they even have mid-roll breaks akin to the greatest podcast. On her Duolingo app, there is only one language that she learns, and that is courage. So we are so excited to have her on the podcast to help us discern the difference between a trolley and a shopping cart, which hopefully she will explain. Please welcome my dear friend, Riley Kehoe, to the podcast.
Thank you. What an introduction. Thank you, Ryan.
Well, and we forgot to shout out where we are coming to you from, the beautiful studios inside Museum of the Bible. So thank you to our host here for today's podcast.
Absolutely. We'll thank him at the end too, but we can't, we always be giving thanks as the Apostle Paul admonished us to. So we give thanks to the Museum of the Bible, but we give thanks to Riley, who's going to help us wrestle with some profound mysteries. And I'm not joking because I learned this in your book. I learned many things in your book. 30 Seconds to Courage, available at book retailers everywhere. But a trolley is not as a shopping cart.
Yep.
So is that only New Zealand? Did you know this? That at the store, they call the shopping cart a trolley.
Nope.
Yep. And when I go into supermarkets, I ask for a trolley. They look at me and they're like, what are you asking for?
I love that.
Just imagine this cool accent walking in the store and it's like, hey, can you hold my trolley? And they're like, what are you talking about? Right? I thought you might made it up to like start conversation with people, you know?
Nope.
And one more question before we get to some serious stuff. Very sensitive. This may be emotional. Tell us about Moo.
Oh, okay. Well, so several weeks ago, I gave birth to my baby little girl named Esther. And she is an absolute delight. She sleeps really good through the night, which has been amazing.
Praise the Lord.
Wow. That's the biggest miracle we're going to hear today.
And she is so cute. It's been so cool. When she was even in the womb, she would, anytime somebody was praying, she'd be like kicking. Aww. And I was like, she's like a little mini John the Baptist. Like she's been like leaping in the womb.
You just came back from an adventure. We're going to get to your obviously your other story, but you just came back from an epic adventure with your husband. So tell us about living life for a year, almost spirit-led.
Yeah. So my husband and I, we got married in the first year of marriage. We were living in San Diego, pretty much walking around barefoot all the time, surfing every day. And as we were thinking about our second year of marriage, we were like, we want to do something radical. And it had actually been a dream that we started thinking about when we were dating. And so we just full sent it and we sold absolutely everything we own, all of our cars, everything. We gave away tons of furniture. We emptied out our entire house and we booked a one-way ticket to Argentina. And one of my best friends asked me for our itinerary because we decided to go and travel for a year as missionaries around the world. And she was like, what's your itinerary? We're like, where are you going? And I just sent her. She's like, Riley, this is not an itinerary because it was just a list of countries. and she was like, so what are you doing in Brazil? And I was like, whatever the Lord asks us to do. And she's like, no, but where are you staying? And I'm like, wherever the Lord wants us to stay. And like the whole almost 1 year, we traveled completely on faith. God opened doors. Like most of the time we didn't know where we were staying that night, but we'd like meet people. It was absolutely wild. And actually Brazil was one of my highlights of the year because we stayed in a slum, a favela that was built on the third largest trash dump in the world. And we were trying to get an Uber there and 10 Uber rides declined us because it was such a dangerous area. And they were like, you wouldn't want to go here. Like, why are you going here? And we show up to this slum and we stay with this family that had lived there for a decade. And we just went door to door every morning, woke up, spent 3 hours with the Lord, and then we went door to door and just helped meet people's needs. The slum is completely run by gangs. The police won't even enter it. and just shared the gospel, saw people like miraculously healed. I was going up and like dabbing like gang leaders that are holding machine guns. And that's just one example. But we just spent the whole year being like, God, where are you going? Like asking the Lord, like, what day do you want us to fly? What flight do you want us to take? Like,
I love you.
Where are we going?
Settle down, Abby. Settle down.
Like two Holy Spirit women, we're like, let's go.
We just become best friends.
I love this. I'm here for this.
Now, Riley, obviously your book is on courage, and I've always known you. I remember in LA, you'd be running late to things, and with the best reason. You can't go. It's like, I stopped. I had to pray for this homeless person, or I met a person on a bridge who was contemplating a really serious action. I talked them out of it. I raised a few people from the dead. But no, I'm kidding.
Not that one yet. Yeah. In the name of Jesus,
that's
one
right.
day soon.
Maybe, but so you've always operated with such courage, and I can't help but wonder if that's because you had such a profound experience as a young girl that you just experientially have learned God's got your back.
Yeah, I have needed courage because I've dealt with great fear. And fear, the birthplace of fear for my story was I was 10 years old and we were on an island off the coast of Thailand. And that's when the 2004 tsunami hit. And it's a crazy story. I truly shouldn't be alive today. And we were on this island and we saw all the water leave and we had to run for our lives. And the tsunami was as close as you are to me right now.
What?
And I mean, that's how close.
Which is like
death,
3-4 feet.
Yeah. That's
go back
close.
to you had time. Tell us this, because this is a crazy story. This is so amazing. I don't want you to undersell this. I know it's a big deal, but take us back to on that day, because the way you write in your book, it's visceral. I recommend everyone check this out.
Yeah.
So take us back to that day.
So it's the day after Christmas. We wake up early in the morning. I wake up in my bed and my bed is shaking. And I think my little sister's underneath my bed, like pulling a prank. And I jump under, I look under, she's not there. And I realize the whole ground is shaking. And unbeknown to me, it's a 9.1 magnitude earthquake. And so I sprint into my parents' room. We were staying on this like resort island off the coast of Thailand. Thailand has all these beautiful resort islands and like they're just like tropical, clear water, massive cliffs. It's beautiful.
Was it Phuket?
It was near there.
Okay.
And so we had showed up the day before on Christmas and we had booked, it's crazy God's hand in all of this. We'd booked beachfront bungalows and they had double booked us and given us middle of the island concrete top floor apartments. So when that earthquake is happening, I run to my mom's and dad's room down the hallway in our apartment. And I like run to the room like, Mom, what's going on? Things are falling off the walls. And my mom looks at me, she's like, honey, it's an earthquake. And it's like as if the earth was listening to her, because the moment she said that, like the earthquake stopped. And I watched my dad like pick up the phone and he calls the front desk and he's like, hey, what's happening? And they're like, we just had a one-off earthquake. No need to worry, like carry on with your day. So we carry on with our day. And it's about like 10 a.m. at this point. And it's crazy because then another coincidence, like a small miracle in which God chooses to remain anonymous, is that an hour before we'd gone to this island called Egg Island, which was essentially a pile of sand in the middle of the ocean. And an hour after this moment, when my sisters and I are playing on the beach, was my parents were going to go rock climbing. And so they were going to be climbing really high and we were just planning on playing at the bottom. Yeah. And so here we are, it's 10 a.m. We're building sandcastles. My dad comes up to me and he's like, hey girls, like we need to head back to the room, because he had to get ready for rock climbing. We head back to the room and I noticed something so peculiar. This island had tons of wildlife. There's like monkeys, wild dogs, and all of a sudden all the animals went quiet. And I remember seeing this like one dog howled as if it had been hurt before and like ran into the forest, and birds flew up and like left the island. And I just noticed it, because all of a sudden you can't hear any wildlife. You only hear human voices. And as we start walking back to our room, I hear screams and shouts, and I look back and you can see the beach through where we are, just through the palm trees, and all the water has left. And it has left so quickly that there's fish flopping around everywhere. There's now boats on the sand. People are running in different directions. It's a scene of chaos. Yeah. And I'm here with my two younger sisters and my dad. And I look up at my dad and I'm like, where is Mom? Like, where is she? And my mom had been on the phone at the hotel reception which was on the beach. And she'd seen this whole scene happen and knew exactly what was going on. And so she ran to our place where sandcastles were, because she didn't know where we were. Oh. And she just starts asking, Lord, like, where are my children? Where are they? And she closes her eyes and she's praying this. She hears one word, flee. And so she turns and she starts running back to her room. And as she's running, she's yelling, "Run!" at the top of her lungs, like warning people to get to high ground because you only have a few minutes. And so I remember seeing my mom run towards me. It's like, my mom is a confident woman. And for the first time in my life, like I see fear in my mom's eyes. And my mom grabs one sister and my dad grabs the other sister. And we start running, which is another crazy coincidence. The day before, we'd gotten lost and found a pathway up the hills, because the way the island was structured was flat in the middle, two big cliffs on either side. We found a pathway at one of the cliffs the day before just because we randomly got lost. That's the pathway we start taking in this moment. And I remember seeing this one side. I saw this man on his boat, and I watched this tsunami, 50-foot tsunami, huge, massive white wall, powerful, shaking the ground underneath us. I watch as he runs backwards and forwards, not knowing what to do, and the tsunami just obliterates him. And then I look over and I see this mom frozen in fear, lying on a lounge chair, and next to her is a baby crying, and I never saw that mom or that baby again. And my family, we just start running up this pathway as fast as we can. And at one point, I look behind, and I'm right behind my parents, and they're still holding my sisters. And I look behind me, and it was like, I wish I had never looked behind me, because I just watched the tsunami just destroy everything in its path. And I mean, it would take out buildings, and I heard screams I will never forget. And as I'm looking behind, I hear my dad. He goes, "Riley, run." And I turn back and I focus on the voice of my father. And I just start running as fast as I can. And at one point, the tsunami was as close as you and I are together, a few feet from me, like less than a car's distance. And that's how close the grips of death was. And to think of all these coincidences that lined up so that we were at that close. Like, had we been 1 second, had we not ran up that pathway, if we'd run just a little slower, like, all these things that God lined up so that I'm literally sitting here, speaking like I just shouldn't be alive today. And so we run up this pathway, and on the top of the cliff is like grass patch, and I fall to my knees, and I do the thing as a little 10-year-old girl, as death and devastation is happening all around me. I just remember falling to my knees, and here I am. And I just prayed. I was like, "God, come be with me." And I remember feeling like this like blanket wrap around me. And it was this that undeniable peace, a peace that transcends all understanding, peace that doesn't make sense, met me as this little girl in this horrible situation. And here's God rushing to meet me. And I had this feeling, even though we were, after the tsunami, stranded on an island for a week with limited food and water, and 3 tsunami waves struck that day and 230,000 people died. Here I was with this feeling like, I'm going to be okay. And that's what happens when God comes and meets us on the very worst moment of the worst day of our lives. When we say his name, he comes and he rushes to meet us with his love.
Wow.
Thank you for sharing. It's better than reading it in the book. Hearing firsthand.
Yeah. Thank you. To be that young and to be that close to death.
Yeah.
How did that impact your faith?
Yeah. I mean, in what you're saying, like the 2004 tsunami was the deadliest natural disaster of the 21st century, and it devastated the coastline of 14 countries. And it is one of those things where it at first was such a burden, but then by God's grace, it became such a blessing. Like, Ryan, like, you've seen me as a friend, like, embrace life and live it to the fullest and just be like,
that is correct.
Not held back by fear of man. And that's,
oh, no.
and that is
no
because,
fear of man.
No.
Or women.
No. And that is because I like have given this incredibly traumatic event to the Lord over and over again. And he's taken it and he's turned it into like the gift of every day. Like, I just wake up and I'm like, the Lord's mercies are new today. Like, there is just a freedom that comes. Like, destiny is found in like the awareness of death. And I got that. I faced death, and I realized it wasn't that I, in that, realized like, in that experience, I realized just how much I wanted to grab life. And there's so many of us that kind of like, almost like can feel like we're sleepwalking through life. Like we can just go from day to day to day and we get lost in the mundane. But even in the mundane, it's like God can make the mundane the most miraculous. And he also wants us he's called us to this wild life. Like Jesus' life was wild. And so at first, as you were saying earlier, like where did courage come from? And that came from after the tsunami. I was just terrified of the ocean. And I also just was struggling with like nightmares and PTSD and just like would hear a certain sound and get so triggered. And 6 months after the tsunami, my parents, wild parental decision, enrolled my sisters and I in beach lifeguard training.
Wow.
Because they wanted to teach my sisters and I that the more you face your fears, the less power fear has over you.
Wow.
Because they saw me like not even wanting to put my feet in sand, and they were like, no, like fear is the great enemy of a courageous life, and fear does not stop death. It stops life. And like, we cannot let you as your parents, like go through this. Like you cannot continue life letting fear be in the driver's seat of your life. Like Jesus encouraged them to be in the driver's seat of your life. Like give courage the pen. And so they enrolled my sisters and I in beach lifeguard training. I remember on the first day, I'm like terrified, so nervous. I'd like nervous peed 1,000 times. I had a nightmare. My hair is a mess. And my dad sees me in distress and he comes up to me, he gets down on my knees and he's like, Riley, you are fighting a battle between courage and fear. And all you need is a little more courage. And so that became just that sentence my dad said to me became like a marker of my life, of like letting my life be courageous, letting this near-death experience, God turn it from a burden into a blessing.
Amen. We got the warning. So any other questions before we start our...
I could go on forever, but I don't want you to miss your flight. Although I have been praying you get delayed like 20, 30 minutes. Just a minor delay. So I get more time with you.
This is one of the frustrations / blessings of working with her. She prayed that a guest would cancel this week, and 20 minutes later he canceled so we could do something
I didn't
else.
pray specifically which one. I just was like, Lord, we really need another slot to do something.
I'm just all aboard for the, it's all just aboard for the
Your
ride.
prayers get heard.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
For better or worse for Ryan.
I'm just here for the journey.
Like you start praying and the Lord is like, what is she saying?
No, but Riley, so we started this newer tradition, and we take a little bit of time before to pray for each one of our guests. They bless us. They bless our listeners with your incredible stories. And also even for me personally, who, I kind of am the little bit of the spiritual curmudgeon a little bit, because Abby will tease me. She's like, look at this epic word. It's like, well, maybe they knew me. I'm always like, I'm doubting Thomas like all the time. Right? So I was like, you know what, maybe to combat that, maybe this is my lifeguard training. We'll start stepping out and just praying for people and see. And I will say, so far, it's been really cool. So we've been praying for you, and we have sealed in these envelopes. This happened all before the interview. So no idea what I was going to say. That's part of the fun. So Abby, would you do the honors of opening Riley's the nominee for Best Prophetic Word?
This is so cool. Thank you for doing this.
Thank you. Well, it was just literally this.
Wait till you hear it first.
Okay.
Yeah. No, this is so sweet.
By this cord, you will be bound.
So Riley, I started praying for you, and I just felt arise, shine, for your light has come, and the glory of the Lord rises upon you. And the song, Jesus loves the little children, all the children of the world, came into my head. And I felt like there's really like just a family. I wrote family mission. Like, I feel like there's a calling to being a mission for your entire family. And I felt like the Lord was saying, take them. I know you just had a baby, like take them with you, that God has a plan for all of you in the global mission field. And you won't have, just because you're starting to have children and raise your family, you won't have to sacrifice your heart for God's children, and just your heart for missions. God's going to give you a way to bring them with you, and make your whole family just like really a blessing, of just missional family. I saw you traveling and serving people, and then during the interview, I got this image. It's kind of a famous picture of Elizabeth Elliot. And when she had her daughter on her back when she was living in the Amazon, and in like a little baby sling. And I just felt like the Lord is saying, like, that is kind of going to be how you raise your children. Just trusting on God, taking them to all kinds of places. And I love Elizabeth Elliot. The museum here actually did a beautiful exhibit on her life. And I just really got a sense of like I think she's such an amazing woman. And I just feel like there's just something about her that is really going to mark your life too.
Thank you. That's so encouraging because last week, Jack and I decided the slums that I was mentioning earlier in Brazil, we decided to go back there in August and we're going to bring our little baby girl with us. And I just remember I had this thought literally this morning, like, God, is that safe? And I thought of that quote, like, the safest place is always the center of the will of God for your life. And like Esther will be safe and we will be safe because that is like God's love language is obedience. And this is us being obedient and his protection will go before us and around us. So thank you so much for sharing that.
And Elizabeth, I mean, she literally took her daughter back to the tribe that that murdered her husband.
Wow.
So I just know God, I feel like that's confirmation. God is going to protect your entire family and that he will send a charge of his heavenly angels to surround you wherever he leads you.
Thank you.
So this is kind of cool for me because I know you, I've known you for a long time, but I didn't know the slum story, and I think I know what this means now. So, when I was praying for you, I heard the Garth Brooks song "Friends in Low Places," and so I wrote down that you are a friend to those in the lowest of places. And God said, because you went low, he will exalt you, and you are the friend to those in low places. And I saw Moses, and he said, Moses is my friend. And Jesus says, I no longer call you servants, but I call you friends. And that is such your calling, is to double down and go into those, like the people in the low places, the destitute, the hungry, the broken, etc. They have a friend.
Thank you.
You leave that tear. Oh, both of you are crying. This is beautiful.
Thank you. That's who I want to reach with my life. Like,
take that.
I don't want a single person to feel forgotten, nor do I want a single person to not hear the gospel.
Well, the book is 3 Seconds to Courage, available in fine book retailers everywhere. I've read it now twice. It's very good. It will take longer than 3 seconds, but it's very, very good. And so please do check it out. We'll link to it in the show notes. And Riley, thanks for being friends with us.
As we have tears.
Ryan's not cried on the show. I've cried every episode. This is amazing. I just
cry later after I cry for other reasons.
He goes to the bathroom.
You can come back anytime.
Thank you so much.
All right, we got to get you to a flight. So unless Abby's prayers are answered.
Thank you, Riley. This has been amazing.